Okay, hi guys. Welcome back to our online class. We are going to be following along a video today. I'm going to repeat some of the stuff that we did yesterday. We only very quickly touched the surface of Wix, and so we're going to do a bit more of that today. I am going to repeat this from the start for people who maybe haven't had any experience with Wix yet, just so that you can follow along if you need to. So I've logged into my Wix account, which you guys should be able to do. And we're going to create a new site. So I've already got a bunch of sites that I've created. I'm going to start from the point here of creating a new site. Your preview may look like this or similar to this. It might look a little different. And we're going to go to maybe, there's a bunch of options here. These are called templates. These are template-driven websites. And so what happens is, depending on what type of business you're looking for, you get a different set of tools that are going to show up depending on which template you select. And so you can see that these were businesses. I had a choice here. These are creatives. So we can go here to like video, and we can see there are a bunch of different variations of available video templates. Okay, we're all going to be using, I mentioned yesterday, we're all going to be using the same one, and that's only because it makes it a little easier for me to make sure that students are understanding stuff and keeping up. If you want to, as we get better with this, you can create another website, which will be your own personal website you can create. As you saw, I've got a number of them. Okay, I've got for different classes, different videos, different websites. You can create more than one. That's no problem. They're free, and that will be something that we can kind of cross that bridge later. We're going to be doing this, which I think most people have already done, but in case you didn't, you just go up to the search and you search for Daria, okay, and there it shows up here, okay? So we're going to click on edit, and that now becomes the template that we're working with. Now you'll notice I've got a couple tabs open. This tab here is like my landing page for Wix, and then I've got this page that opened up as a list of the templates that were available, and then here's my editor. Okay, now I did talk about this briefly yesterday, but I'm going to kind of get a bit into it a little bit more today. Some of the things I want to talk about are how to navigate around this, this page, and then how to kind of switch between your preview view and your editor, and so some of the things that you'll need to be working with. Things like what a page is, what a page element is, what a universal element is, what is specific to a typical type of page. We're going to look at the toolbar. We're going to look at things like navigation or menus, that sort of thing, and we'll sort of get this some of these elements started. Okay. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to just look at going between our preview view and our editor view. So right now I'm in my editor view, and you can see that by these little lines here. I've got this toolbar that exists, right? And that tells me that I am in my edit view. These lines here, okay, this horizontal one delineates my header and the body of my website. Okay, this is the body of my website. And then this line here and this line here are the content that is on your website is always going to go between these two lines. And that's because with the differences in screen resolution and monitor sizes, you're going to find that if you are on a wide monitor, you'll have more space. But if you're on a smaller, say a tablet, or you've got a tablet or a phone turned into the landscape view, the portrait view, it's going to be narrower. And so you want to make sure that all of your content is within these two lines, because this is going to show up universally on all kinds of available screens. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. And so if I click over to preview, I'm going to sort of see my view, and this shows me, because I have a wide monitor, it shows me what's over here. But if I did narrow this down, you can see that what happens is that, say I had a smaller monitor, this content, which is important, stays viewable, right? And no matter kind of how small I get, that is always available. And then this stuff here kind of gets crunched in from the right side, it gets crunched over to the left. Notice that if I go back out to my full size and I go back over to my editor, okay, this stuff is kind of pushed over to the right on the header, which means when I made it smaller, this whole menu kind of squishes in towards the center, but this does not. Okay. All right, a couple things that are ways around this software or around this interface. I mentioned this yesterday, I'm going to mention it again. You have a couple ways to move. So say I've got a number of pages. Right now, my pages are work, bio, main project, and content. And if I click here, you'll see those pages are repeated. Work, bio, main project, and contact. Okay. If I click on manage pages, or if I go here through menus and pages, okay, these will take me to the same thing. Okay, if I did it from here and I went manage pages, does the same thing. There's those pages again, work, bio, main project, contact. And this, the nice thing about this is that this is linked to my interface. So if I decided I wanted to change the order of these, I could take bio and drag it down here, and you'll see that it updates over here. Okay, so I've now changed the order. I clicked on it, so it took me to that page, but I've changed the order of these things, okay, so that they are now being updated here. If I put bio at the end, it's going to move as well here. Okay, so I can navigate through my website by clicking on the different pages. I can reorder and change the position of things on the menu as I prefer, and I can add and I can delete pages as I feel fit. So if I want to add another page in here, and I click on here and I call this, work samples or whatever. Okay, and I say done. That shows up here in my navigation, and again, I can move that simply by dragging that around. Okay. If I wanted to, I could then delete a page by just going to work samples, clicking on this thing, and if I either say I had a page that I want all of my, say I've got a shop, a store, and I have like I don't know, I'm selling bikes, and I want the bike display page to look the same on all bike display pages. Well, I would make it a template. So say this is, here, I'm going to click on this guy and rename it. I'm going to call this bike detail view. Okay, something like that, bike detail view. Okay, and I hit done. And I want all of my bike detail views to be the exact same layout because I've got like my bike here and my specs here and my write-up here and like my testimonials here or whatever. I can duplicate this page, okay, and it's going to make an exact duplicate, and I'm going to call this, I don't know, mountain bikes, whatever, number 1, and it's going to be your model. And you hit done, and that's going to be the exact same layout as this, okay? And then I duplicate it again, and I've got, road bikes or whatever, number 1, and I've got another one called mountain bikes number 2 and 3 and 4 for whatever my models happen to be, and those will show up. Now, that's pretty straightforward. I think it should be easy enough to do, and I can delete and I can change the way these look. A couple other things. You'll notice here that these are all on my main or my top level navigation. Maybe I don't want that. Maybe I want these here to go under a level, right? So when you go to bike detail view, you have the choice to go to road and mountain and city bikes or crossover or whatever you have. These can now get dragged in under a page, so they appear in like kind of down below, and you'll see that those now disappeared from my top level. If I now preview this, what you'll see is that those show up here as sub-navigation. Okay, so these are now pages below this in my navigation structure. Okay, so that's fairly straightforward. We'll go back to manage pages, and I can again move that around. I can duplicate pages the same as I did. Okay, and we'll do city rides number 1, number 2, and whatever. And then again, that's going to show up underneath my bike detail. Okay, and I can navigate through my pages. Now there's no content on these because I duplicated a blank page, but you get the idea. If I was using, say, this page and I duplicated this, then all of my pages would have this same content. Okay, now that is going to affect your workflow because if you want to sort of plan out a little bit what you're going to be doing, you want to make sure that you make this page the way you want it before you duplicate it 3 times. So that takes a little bit of planning when you're building a site. But for our purposes, we'll be walking through exactly what you need. So you won't need to do that much thinking, but it does make sense to consider it if you do want to make any specialized changes to yours. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this. And actually, before I do, let me just quickly show you a couple other things. Here we've got this set of kind of extra details here. And there are some important things that we need to, these are just to edit it, but there's important things here that we won't need to get into right now, but we will talk about in the sort of coming days and weeks, because these are actually some important things to know with respect to how your website's going to work. okay? We've got things like page info, which is the title of the page. So when I preview this, if I go to, preview the live site, I can't view, I have to export it to view it, but you would get a title here. So you'll see here in my title on my school website, it says Mr. St.Romain. Okay, that's coming from the page title, which was, go back to my menu here, okay, that's coming from this here, okay, the page title. Okay, I can also do things like I can hide it from the menu. So say I don't want this, so I go here, and I've got these here. Say I don't want that to show up, or I don't want this page to be in my menu. I can affect that by going here, clicking on this thing, and going Settings, Hide from Menu. Okay, and that's going to remove it from this view. I'll do it on one that you can see. So here, I'm going to go Settings, and I'm going to say Hide from Menu. You can see that's showing or hiding that bike detail view page. Okay, for now I'm going to leave it on, but you get the idea. There's a couple other things here that are important. Okay, we're going to leave these all as standard for now. We don't have to change any of these. But for example, say you had a members only area, or for example, on my school website where I've got quizzes, where I've got a quiz page, I set a password on those pages so that you can go to the page, but you won't have access to them unless you have the password. Okay, that might be something that you will need in the future. You won't need that for our course, but just be aware that that's there. These template pages have a ton of options. They're actually very versatile and really, really quite well done. You can do a lot with a little bit of knowledge. Okay, finally we have SEO, which we'll be looking at eventually. This has to do with what the slug, it's called a slug, which is like if I type in, hm.com/men's, it's going to take me to the men's page. If I go /women's, it's going to take me to the women's page, et cetera, shoes, accessories, right? So you can name this according to what's on the content, on like the content on that page, and that actually helps with search engines, so that search engines can find your page and know what's there, so it gets indexed properly. Okay, so that's the thing we'll look at as well, and we'll get into all these sorts of things. There's a lot here. We won't cover probably nearly all of this, but there's a lot for you to learn about. Now, as I say, I'm going to cover some of this in class, a lot of it in class, but in addition, there are going to be some things that you may want to learn more about. That's going to be, things that you can just jump on YouTube and Google. There's a whole ton of available information on YouTube, and then Wix, of course, has got its own kind of user area and frequently asked questions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to get rid of these. I don't need these pages. Delete that, and I'm going to delete all of these because I don't need those pages. Delete. Road bikes can go, and City Rides can go as well. So we're back to our original page. Okay, let's go check out the bio page here, and we'll see. Minimize this. We'll see we've got this line here, Daria Hanks. Okay, and that exists on all of. If I click here and I go through my pages here, you see that Daria Hanks, the name of this template, shows up on all the pages. There are a couple of things that show up on all the pages. Okay, this nav shows up everywhere. Daria Hanks shows up everywhere, and this footer, okay, it's at the bottom. It shows up everywhere as well. I go to bio. There it is at the bottom. Okay, I go to main page, project. There it is at the bottom. Okay, we're going to change that. So let's go back to our editor. Okay, and we're going to click on this. And what you'll see is you can click on this guy, and then you get a specific set of tools. So notice if I click here on text, I get some text tools. If I click here on this text, I get text tools. If I click on a Wix video, I get some video settings. If I click on what is called a strip, which is a strip of information, it's a type of sort of widget within Wix, I can then change the settings for this. So every element has its own set of tools, okay? And so what you find is if I want to make an edit to something, I just click on it and I go to the tools that can affect that. Okay, so if I want to change Daria Hanks, for example, I'm going to click here, I'm going to click on change text, and I want to change that to say, for my website, I'm going to say Mr. St.Romain. You can put your name obviously there, and what happens when it clicks on it? Well, maybe I'm going to say maybe nothing happens, okay, it doesn't do anything, or maybe it goes to a specific page. Maybe I want it to go to the main page. I can click here and pick which page I want it to go to. Because it says my name, maybe I want it to tell the user more about me, and I say, click on this, click on that. It's going to click me and take me to the bio page where you learn more about Mr. St.Romain. Okay, Does it open a new window or the current window? I want it to open the current window, so I'm going to say done. Okay, I'm going to close that, and that's now been updated. I preview that, and because that was a universal element, okay, that's going to show up on all of my pages. Okay, Daria Hanks is gone, and now it says Mr. St.Romain up here. Okay, so I'm going to have you do that. I'm going to also have you change this footer because this is no longer relevant. Let's go back to our editor. We're going to go down to any of the pages because it's a universal item. We're going to click on here and edit our text, and we're going to say copyright 2020, and we're going to change this to your name by Mr. St.Romain. Now you may or may not want to keep that proudly created by Wix, so I'm going to get rid of it. You have some controls here. You can make this so that it is left aligned if you want to. You can resize this thing depending on what you need, and then you can make it taller or shorter. You can also click and drag and change where it is. You've got these purple lines that show up, which will help you align things. Notice that when I'm working, remember this was part of the footer. When I go up here, you'll notice that area up there turns blue because I'm moving it from a universal element, which is the footer, into a page element, and that's going to change the way that works. So I don't want to do that. I want to keep that here. So I'm going to change that there, and then I'm going to click away. I'm going to save that, okay? And as soon as you go to save anything, it's going to say, all right, what do you want to do with this site? Are you going to publish it? Do you want to put it on the internet? And you do. We're going to change this, my site, that's not a very useful name. We're going to call this grade 12 ComTech. Now, that is, I've already used that name. I'm going to have you guys, I forget what I did. I think I made it your, because what you're going to get is you're going to get something like your username here. So I think it'll be like, for me, it would be Stroma001 wixsite.com / whatever I put here. I'm going to have you put your last name here because it'll make it easier for me to find later, okay? So if your name is St.Romain, which I don't think it is, you're going to put St.Romain there. If your name is, you know, Hicks, you're just going to put Hicks here, okay? Whatever it is, just put your last name there, and so that'll make it easier for me to find. I'm going to click Save and Continue, so I'm going to actually put my name, not Daria Hicks' name, and I'm going to click Save and Continue. Oh, note here that if you had your own www.strromain.com, you could connect it here, but that costs money, so we're not going to do that for today, and you're probably not going to do that for this course. I can't imagine you spending any money on getting an URL, a URL for a course, but if you were doing this for a business, you certainly would connect a real website. It costs you, you know, a couple bucks to buy. I think it's like, you know, depending on what you're doing, it's like, I don't know, probably 50 bucks or something. I don't know. It's been a long time since I did one. Because everything is free and I like free. So we click Save there, and we're done. Okay, so now what I can do is when it's saving, once it's done, it's going to say, do you want to publish now? I don't need to publish it. You can. And before I can see your work, you need to publish it. But for now, we don't need to. We're just going to say done. Okay, we're going to preview this. And when I preview it, okay, there's my preview. And these things have been updated. Okay, my header, my nav, and my footer down here. Okay. All right, I'm going to wrap it up with one last thing. I'm going to go back to my editor. Okay, we're going to change this social links here. Now, you may or may not want to link to your social. I don't. I don't have social that works for me, so I just delete this. But if you wanted to, you can make an edit here by changing what happens here, by changing the icon or adding in some others. You would have to go and find new, so you can click on Add Icons, okay, and you can add in what you wanted to. There are different styles of icons. You can, you know, say you wanted them to look like this or whatever, or you can go and create your own in Photoshop or find them online and replace them in here. We'll look at how to do that in a minute, but for now, because I don't need this, I'm actually going to delete my social bar. Up to you. You can do that if you'd like to, okay? Last thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to the bio page because I'm going to have you guys do this on your own, and we're going to change an image. Okay, so if I click here, this is an image of some random person. If I click on Change Image, I have some options. I could go into the available free images from Wix, and Wix gives you a bunch of free images, which there are a lot of them, and I can go and grab a picture of the computer, and then once I search that, I can go, that's the one I want, and I'm going to choose that, and I'm going to put that in there, it's going to replace it. Or if I wanted to, I can go and upload my own image. Okay, I can click on Upload, and this works just like every other uploader that you've ever used. Upload from my computer, right? Like an attachment, I'm going to go find a picture of myself, and I'm going to, or whatever image I want to put, and I'm going to stick that in there. Okay, so say I'm looking for a bio picture. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go. Geez, I don't even know what mine are. Admin maybe. Bio photos. Look at me, organized. There's my bio photo, and I'm gonna click on that, and it's gonna upload it, and then once it shows up here, let it finish. I click this. I say choose image. If I want to edit it, I can do that, but or make any adjustments, I can do that. Then I choose the image, and voila, there's me with a camera, and I can edit this. Okay, I'm gonna stop this video here. I'm gonna assign you guys some work to do, and essentially it's going to be to make some changes to a couple of the pages. But I think for now, this video will do, and then in Google Classroom, I'll give you a list of things that I'd like you to do on your own page. Okay? If you have questions, I'll be online to hopefully be online to answer questions as we go, but this should get you guys at least started on this process. Okay?